Big news today on January 27th, 2026 for Arc Raiders. Update 1.13.0. Heading down to what's new. We have solo versus squads, trophy display, bird city, new items, and 7 new quests. So far, we're starting off hot with the patch notes. Solo versus squads is a new matchmaking option for our experienced and highly skilled players who enjoy the PvP aspect of the game. Solo raiders level 40 and above will get the solo versus squad toggle option above matchmaking to join the squad's queue and tackle squads of raiders head on. When opting in, players will receive a 20% bonus XP at the end of the round on both successful extract and defeat. That's pretty nice. Players will receive a 20% bonus. That's not bad. I just don't see how a solo versus squads mode is going to even work out. I mean, that's basically a 1 versus 4. Unless you're PvEing. If you're going in solo versus squads to PvP, you're not coming out winning. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. So that's an interesting addition to Arc Raiders. Coming down to trophy display, a new long-term project which requires players to hunt increasingly dangerous groups of Arc to submit their parts for rewards. Raiders will be able to build a new display case over 5 different steps, same as for the Candleberry project. And each level will add a new item to the display case. The rewards for completing each step include blueprints as well as Raider tokens. And full completion also brings additional rewards, including a Howl emote, a guitar, and 300,000 coins. That's a big one. That's a big reward right there. There is currently no fixed end date and will not be impacted by expedition resets. That's awesome. That is awesome. So you can just take your time on this and get that trophy case built up. Then we're heading down to Bird City, which is going to be in Buried City. Flocks of birds have moved into Buried City, building nests in the empty chimneys. We got some reports of them storing shiny trinkets inside, so make sure to inspect them. The new permanent map condition will be applied to the Buried City map only, which will cycle in and out of rotation weekly. There will be more bird traps and zip lines present on the map. Raiders can expect more combat in, on, or around the rooftops, including more flying arc and more players in proximity. That's interesting. So only during the event, you're going to see more flying arc, more zip lines, and probably more loot in the chimneys. Now, I'm not sure if it's just going to be trinkets, maybe like more trinket heavy, but I'm hoping to see some other types of loot as well, just because we have more flying arc and more players. We're going down to new items. 2 new types of epic augments. I have no idea what those are. I'm interested to see what those are. 7 new quests. And that's it for the What's New segment. Heading down to patch highlights, here's the bread and butter, baby. Here's where we get into like the highlights, obviously, of the patch highlights. But this is like the bread and butter of their patch notes right here. Open parties. The option to set your party to open so your Embark and platform friends can join you seamlessly, even when you're in round, to wait in the lobby to join your next match. So let's say you're in a solo raid real quick. You're going topside for something. You invite your Embark partner, or you invite your teammate. They can wait in the lobby just like you can in Fortnite, which is pretty cool. Then you have squad invites. Added the option for squad mates to invite others to the party, as well as the party leader, which is nice. So the party leader is not the only one who can invite a friend. Let's say the party leader is not friends with the current player. That player can now invite his or her friend to the party, which is pretty cool. And then we have the 4 big ones right here. I'm calling this the big 4. Check this out. Achievement fixes, Stellamontes Seed Vault extract fix, mouse smoothing option added, and gamepad rebinding. The gamepad rebinding is going to be a big one for controller players. Heading down to content and bug fixes. We just read the achievements. We know what those are. Hook, line, and sinker achievement is not tracking correctly. And then enemy of my enemy achievement is not getting tracked. So they fixed those 2. Hopefully they work now so we can platinum the game. Heading down to Arc. Arc traversing obstacles has been improved. That's a big one for Arc. They're now even getting smarter. They can go around obstacles. They're becoming more agile and more, sneaky, because we have the leaper here. And if you look under the leaper is now better at walking when it loses its legs. That is scary, especially for a leaper, man. The shredder, nothing crazy here. Dead shredders are now properly labeled as scavengeable when pinged. The snitch fixed an issue where snitches would abort calling down arc if players threw a lure grenade during the call. Snitches no longer make noise after they are destroyed. Spotter fixed an issue where spotters would follow players into buildings and get stuck. Never had that, but that seems pretty funny. Good fix. A tick. When grabbed by the tick, players will now have a brief window of time where they can dodge roll to remove the tick. So now we have not only one way to remove the tick, we have two ways. You can either grab it off or you can roll, which is pretty sweet. Audio is another big one that I've noticed. Fixed an issue where emotes were missing voice lines in the store and customization preview. That's not really the important one. These two right here are the main focus of the audio fixes. Fixed voice chat cutting in some cases, improved voice chat connection. That is super important because during solo raids, when you're trying to team up or you're trying to PvP somebody and you want to talk a little smack, the chat won't be cutting in and out like it used to. And if you have ever experienced that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not a good time. The maps section, I'm going to skip over. Same with miscellaneous. Anytime you see a miscellaneous, it's going to be good stuff. I mean, it's just basically like small little known issues, but there could be some big ones in there as well. I'm not going to read those. I'm going to skip over those. Movement. We can cover movement real quick. Fix an issue where player movement input would temporarily be unresponsive after having network connection issues. Fix an issue where players would fall off a ladder when attempting to descend shortly after climbing to the top. Fix an issue where players would automatically jump off a ladder when entering while crouched. I've never experienced any of those, but with the amount of players playing the game, I'm sure this has happened. UI, a lot of good UI updates here. Anytime you see a UI update, it's either going to go, one way or the other, but hopefully it's just going up. You know what I'm saying? Because, the UI design is very important when it comes to video games. I'm going to skip this section though. You're more than happy to read this on the Arc Raiders website. I do want to cover utility. Fix zipline anchor point, updating its position correctly when on a moving platform. Changing augments and loadout now arranges the excess items in the stash better. Fix an issue where two players using a defibrillator at the same time would revive down player with full HP. Now, I kind of laugh at this because I've never experienced that or have heard of that before. But like I said in the previous section, there are so many players playing Arc Raiders right now that this, I wouldn't doubt that this has happened before. I've never known about it until now, so good fix there. Quests added additional interactions to the final objective in the groundbreaking quest. I'm curious to see what that's about. And here is the last big one, guys. Anti-cheat. A 3 strikes progressive ban system is in the process. Unfortunately, it's in the process. It's not implemented right now. So hopefully soon the bans will start to come down. The ban hammer will be introduced to Arc Raiders. Bans will progress from 30 to 60 days and finally a perma ban for repeat offenders. This is huge. Now, I don't know if this is going to be IP bans or if it's just going to be account bans. That's going to be an interesting thing to see in the future. And then some more known issues. I'm not going to get into those. I'm not going to read those. Those are probably just like some small things they've fixed. So that's it, guys. That is it. Pretty big update. Embark has been kind of quiet the last couple of weeks, so this is a really, really good update to see from them. I can't wait to see the future updates. We got the new roadmap for 2026. I made a YouTube short on that. You can check that out. Good stuff coming to Arc Raiders, man. Good stuff coming. If you want me to cover more updates and stuff like that about Arc Raiders, please let me know down in the comments below. Also, let me know what you guys think of the patch notes. Do you guys think Arc Raiders is moving in the direction that it needs to go, or do you think that they're still kind of holding back on a few important updates? Comment your thoughts down below. Please like, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys topside.